don't want to be the angry black girl in the room.
Whatever's put out there, you're held accountable to, and that's the difficult thing.
I feel like my calling is to give people a voice.
God said, come as you are.
If you judge somebody for where they're at, you might kill where they're going.
You just treat people how you want to be treated, full stop, that's it.
The more you put yourself out there, people do feel like they know you.
When you're young, you make mistakes, you do certain things, but you get wise.
Let's just go and talk about the test of faith that you get being in this industry. All the hurdles you have to overcome, how many times you've almost been taken out of character, how many times you might have been called out your name. Do you get what I mean? For me, I feel like it's always an ongoing battle. And then the bigger you get and the more people are looking at you, it's just like bare paranoia. And you're very conscious of the way that people treat you and speak to you. I come from Brixton. So I'm not used to people talking to me a certain way, but I can't wild out, I can't act up, and it's not just because I'm a woman of God. It's because you don't want to be the angry black girl in the room.
Exactly.
Do you get me?
Some people, the way they show their love is a bit different, you know? I've had to understand love through a different way. You know, the ones that, like, it's like a heavy-handed, double heavy-handed. I've had man grab my head, whoa, I love you, mate.
That's crazy.
Before it was too late, the side, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, they're saying that it can be boisterous and it can be soft. And some people might not want to take a photo, they just bless you up. Listen, man, I love your work, keep going. And then some people want to chew your ear off. They won't leave
That's
you.
where I'm all like, do you know what I mean? Like, just
Especially if you're
dodging
tired
it.
as well, if you've had a long day already and someone's talking to you like you're fresh. Like, yo, so when you did that, what was that like? What was this like? And I think it's like, there's no manual as well on how to navigate that, of like being like a public figure. Like there's no manual on, okay, so how do I respond when someone does this or someone encroaches on my space?
You know what it is? What I find it, what I'm responding to, I gotta slow myself down. Because when it's done nicely, it's just feels warm. When I'm in Nando's eating food with my kids and, excuse me, mate, do you mind if I get a photo? It's like, I'm just thinking in my head like, wow. You couldn't even just say, oh, it's not really that time, or, you know what I mean? I'm in the toilet, back to do my thing. Man comes in there, excuse me, you think? Like, I can't look, I can't, no shaking, no foot, man, I want to take photos in the toilet, bro. They're not actually watching what, like, it's mad, but you have to slow down, explain to them, you just gotta make sure it's love, because sometimes I've had them ones where it's, I know you. You're temperature, yeah?
Oh, no, stop it.
Thinking, I try to just be blind to it, you get me? But when I see, for instance, or my boy will say, I swear that person's filming, you know? And these times I'll look up now, and then I just see someone doing a slide.
That's crazy.
Like these, it's like, wow. Like,
I just, to touch
not
base on
nice.
what you said, about, like, someone come up to you and was like, oh, like, what, temperature? I was thinking, like, I just think that when people do that, it's out of sheer ignorance. It's not like... Because sometimes I feel like people do it. You know when people make jokes in awkward situations? I feel like sometimes it's a situation like that where you've approached saying, oh, are you the person that you're always with? But you know that it's not. You know that I'm not that person.
Say, I swear, you look like DW, you know.
Why don't you just say, are you?
Because it's love, you can't. Like, they could be nervous, like, oh my God, is it?
I've had bare times where it's been like, oh, you look like that Cristale girl, you know? And I say, is it? You know what? I've never had that before, you know? And they say, is it? Like, and then it will be like, either my mum or my partner will be like, it's her. And then they'll be like, oh my days, like, da-da-da-da-da. And I say, yeah, but you just gotta have fun with people, because then that shows my playful side as well. Do you get what I mean? I've never let it go too far where the person, like, necessarily walks away or anything. Like, I always be like, yeah, it's me. Do you get what I mean?
But I'll let them leave on it's not me.
I think that's good. And I think sometimes people are in genuine disbelief, you know, because they just can't believe that they're seeing you in real life. I think that's super important, like knowing what people's love language is. It's crazy because with the fans, they don't even know what you want, and there's some things you can't control, but...
For me, I feel like a late bloomer in this. I feel like out of everyone here, it's only 2024 when I felt what it is like to be clocked every day. Before that, that wasn't a thing. I made music. It wasn't a thing where I made music and then these people who I've never met in my life see me. So I feel like it's difficult adjusting to that, you know, like the moment it starts happening. Whereas I guess if you've been experiencing that for several years, you almost become accustomed. Would you say you become more comfortable with it over time?
You just treat people how you want to be treated, full stop, that's it.
This is it. Yeah. Simple. So yeah, some people, when they see me, yeah, they like, D-double-E, really loud, yeah. When I say Wagwan, they're like, right, you speaking low. And I'm like, yeah, Wagwan. Like, oh. And it's like, now he's calming down. You see what I'm saying? Because it's you don't know you don't really know us, you know what I'm saying? So it's just for people to understand more and just kind of, the energies connect. Like I said, it's love, so.
You have to think from the consumer's perspective. Like, remember, as an artist, you also consume music. So if you saw your favorite artist today, if you would still be dumbfounded, that's how people feel about you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But it took me long to wrap my head around stuff like that, because one, I don't feel like I'm gone yet. So I don't feel like there's anything for you to be getting gassed over. Yeah. I'm still like, you'll catch me walking with the Marks and Spencer's bags in my hand because my mum's making me carry the bread and all of that. Do you get what I'm trying to... I'm a normal person. Yeah, do you get what I mean? And I feel like they don't realise that, because when you're on the internet and you got followers and da-da-da-da-da, you're automatically put on a pedestal.
What you doing around there? These times you're in your own end.
Yeah!
What? You know, flying in a helicopter. You know, like, what do they expect, man? Floating or... Yeah.
How do you guys deal with it? Like, when someone... Because you're Banks, innit? So how do people approach you?
But even though you say that, I still feel like how you feel, like just normal. But you know what's so crazy? I was gonna say, like, I remember when I used to take train, and I was kind of first getting traction. Bro, people used to stop me and be like, why are you on the train? I was thinking, bro, why are you on the train? Same reason. I'm trying to get to where I'm going, do you get me? Like, but it's so mad as well, because I think in rap culture, not like everyone's on it, but you see when you start doing the whole braggy thing, flexy, it gets peak, because now you're falling into the trap of lifestyle. You have to keep it up. So at some points, especially due to my messaging in my music, it probably wasn't like that. I didn't know why they were asking me that question, because to me it just felt like, yes, I'm on the train, like going to where I'm going. But as I've got like bigger and grown more, I do feel like a bit caged, unfortunately, like even though I shouldn't, but sometimes I feel like I can't just do normal things. And not like everyone knows me. I know that it's more in my community and like people that are into our type of music, but yeah, you just start feeling super restricted because people start expecting things of you like that may not, you know, be necessary, and having to upkeep this lifestyle like you don't want to fly economy or like something crazy. It's just, it's so trivial, and on the grand scheme of things, it really is trivial because we're all going to the same place, but I think the more you put yourself out there, and especially because authenticity and you being real selves, people do feel like they know you. I know people that I followed, like there was some girl I used to follow, I thought she's super funny. I saw her out one day and I waved at her and I'm thinking, shit, this girl actually don't know me. This is before I was like even where I'm at now. Yeah. So people must feel like that about me. But then in the same breath, being that artist, and certain things aside, it's like you have to set that boundary and you actually do have to protect yourself. Like, people do feel like they know you, so sometimes you have to not be in certain spaces, or you have to roll with security one day when I don't really want to, but it just to keep that barrier, because you don't know how people are gonna approach you, you know? But it's crazy because you also don't wanna let your ego grow too much. Yeah. It's not really you, it's other people, you know?
Before, like when I was like in Lotto Boys, my ego was very large. Yeah.
Rightfully so.
It was fair dues, innit, to be fair. But obviously a lot of it was gas, do you know what I mean? We did fly economy, but then obviously we did get clocked sometimes and stuff like that. So obviously in the back of my head, I'm like, should we start flying first class? Like, is that where we should be? And I feel like for like now, where I am now, as in like, cause I'm no longer doing like secular music, I'm doing gospel now. It's a whole different level of humility.
I love that.
And the thing is like I'm no longer like, the songs are not about me, girls, or whatever, but the songs are about like God. Do you know what I'm saying? So the light ain't on me no more. So when people approach me, it shocks me more now, because I'm like, oh, bro, like, you guys still see me as an artist? Like, even though like I do gospel music, you still see me as an artist. And I was on the train, and I do see people looking and filming and stuff like that. And I'm just there chilling in my head. I'm thinking, none of this actually matters to me no more.
Yeah.
So seeing the difference for me from where I've come from, like, it hits a bit different, you know, because I'm like, bro, like, I really never used to get the train. What train? We used to book out, give me a Mercedes just to go London and come back. And I remember I used to like drive around in the ends, renting a Porsche, like, that you're not getting £600 a day. Yeah. And I'm renting a Porsche like a week. Oh, Jai. Listen, and I think for me, at that point, looking back, I'm like,
It wasn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary. I've realized this life is about, especially like the Christian walk, it's a lot more to do with dying to self than living.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the humility comes in, man, trust me.
Man, I understand what you're saying as well about surrendering to the things that you want. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, in the terms of, don't give in to your every desire, because not everything you want is good for you.
True.
Do you get what I mean? Because on a normal day, I will get public transport, and a lot of people like just think like, "Wow, what are you doing on TFL?" Like, they start questioning like, "Right, is your bread not there?" and stuff like that.
Not
No,
like that.
if it takes me 20 minutes to get to Central on a train, but it takes me an hour and a half to get to Central by car, I ain't got time to waste. You only live once, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna choose them 20 minutes each and every time. So even like the whole thing what you're saying about the £600 a day Porsche and stuff like that, it's all lifestyle and it's all consumerism, and you got to be careful what you're feeding yourself like through your eyes, because it's all like fake. I don't think people understand how fake social media and all this lifestyle stuff, it doesn't exist and it does not last forever. Do you get what I mean?
It's good that you had that experience, and you come
Yeah.
through on the other side.
Yeah,
I think there's some people, it's good for them to go through experiences when they can come through, and some people don't make it. So you're just one of those ones that you had to say, I was the same. I've been through stages where I'm doing a mad thing, doing this. I look back and, you know, life is up and down, innit? Yeah, so there was a good time, and then when I come down a bit, I was like, bro, I come down, but if I didn't do that and I didn't do this, I'm all converting it into a yard and other stuff. What? So then I could have...
I don't want to think about this.
been there, what I could have done
But
this.
you have to experience
but then it went
though.
there.
People that are given platforms like yourself and like the rest of us, I feel like we're given this platform to make these mistakes so that we can influence others to not make the same mistakes. And if you didn't, and any of us didn't get to experience the quote-unquote finer things in life, then we wouldn't know. Like, how do you know you wouldn't get to a place in your journey or in your Christian walk where you're still craving those things because you didn't get to experience it when you was younger? Do you get what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, not everything in life is supposed to be experienced, but when you do have that experience, don't think back on it and think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I've done that countless times, like, especially when I'm in the studio and I'm thinking, bro, I should have really cooked myself a food instead of ordering this food. And then how much money you spend on Deliveroo and Uber Eats and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, if I just cooked, the food would have lasted me 3 days and I would have been all right. Do you get what I mean? But you make those mistakes so you don't make them again.
Yeah, true.
Do you get me?
And I think as well, the level of relatability that you have with people who are starting that journey, who have a similar mindset, is powerful because you've been through it as well. I think that it gives power to your voice, because then you can talk to them and say, look, I know what it feels like to have that pressure. And I think for yourself as well, because you know what it is? It's like, I do think, because the space I sit in is like alternative underground rap. I don't have that pressure on me. It's like I relate with you in the sense that if I go on a train or if I'm on, people almost, they expect that from me. That's part of my brand to a degree. They want to see me in those spaces. But I think I would find it difficult because, do you know what it is? Like, what we talk about, naturally, people want to feel the realness of it.
Yes.
So if I had a bar saying, I don't know, I'm in my truck, like, they want to see me in my truck. That's what's going to make them come to my show. That's what's going to make them love me as an artist. That's my bread. That's my business. You understand? So I do think there's a difficult tension within that. It's almost like whatever's put out there, you're held accountable to, and that's the difficult thing.
So how would you guys say your religion competes against your public personas or you as artists?
I would say it's built into my personality. So my mum, she's from Mandeville, Manchester, and my mum's side is very Christian church, and my dad's side is Kingston, and very yardy, gully side. You know, walk and talk the talk, you know? Yeah, so I think that me as a character is kind of got both inside, but the faith and the good deeds is more my side, you know? Like obviously, when you're young, you make mistakes, you do certain things, but you get wise. Yeah, so I feel like I've had a lot of wise upbringing.
What would you say, Imrhan?
Well, comparison-wise, like before, like my lifestyle was not matching. So in terms of competing, I didn't probably look Christian to anybody, to be fair. And I think that's ignorance, innit? Because I didn't understand like the faith, I didn't understand Christ, I didn't understand God. I didn't understand it. I was just kind of just doing it because my family done it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have my own relationship with God, you know what I mean? And that was where the standpoint was. And people can definitely see it. One thing I didn't let go of though was like prayer, do you know what I mean? And I stayed there. Like that was my own personal thing. And I think for me, it was like for example, between the transition where I came out of like secular music going into gospel, in this gap here is where I found it like the hardest, because I've got this mirror in my face called the Bible. And I'm looking at myself and looking at this and I'm like, if Jesus is my example, like, I don't look like this man.
Yeah, it's not matching
I have
up.
nothing to, what? This man is far. And I'm like, so where does he get active? Like, where does he beat people up? Does he not punch nobody for how they're talking to him? And then nothing like that. Like, what, you're on the cross, so you're just ready to just... And then I'm thinking, well, how do you respond to that? Because obviously, again, being from like, obviously I'm from Aston, innit? And being from the area, you have like a subliminal thought of, if anyone was to ever try, like you're kind of always ready in a sense. But I think where I am now, I don't even really think about that stuff.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's a bit of a power trip, and that's when the dark side of ego comes in. And unfortunately, I feel like growing up in the ends and on the road, it's the same as in Brum or in London, like any hood, where the things we learn are backwards, like the way to move. Like you think that, if, you know, letting man know what I'm going or doing certain things that shows that I'm the boss or I'm the big man, but really and truly, when you get older, you realise certain people don't even deserve your reaction.
Yeah.
You don't even really deserve to even make...
walks away.
Yeah, to make you think that you're even niggling at me, but we grow up in the ends with a mad ego, like we have to defend it all the time. And I remember when I was younger, like, we used to, like, me and my girls used to roll in batches, but you know, like, you just be looking for a fight, looking for an issue.
When you're a teenager,
it's the excitement, you just want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel like you're at peace now, where you don't need to get into certain things. I agree with that. I don't think I'm fully healed in that sense, where I don't look for no problem, but I'm in more of a space where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to react or give people my energy in that way.
I feel like for me, obviously coming from South again, like it's installed in me, like even from young, if someone hits you, you hit them back. I've always got my guard up, and not just physically, spiritually as well. Because even circling back to what we was talking about before, when you're engaging with supporters and stuff like that, you can't hug everyone, you know?
Yeah,
you don't know what
exactly.
burdens or what spirit or what energy people is carrying. So for me, I just always like, I'm in the room for a bit with a screw face for maybe about 20 minutes or half an hour. And then when I recognise everything that's happening, I know when to let my guard down. So that combating with my faith and everything like that, like even now, I don't swear in my music no more. I've made an effort, like a conscious effort from like a couple years ago. I said to myself, you don't need to swear to get your point across. And you don't have to always be aggressive to get your point across. I made a conscious decision that when I'm in the studio, if I feel like I want to swear, I say something completely different, because you just don't know whose ears the music is going to fall upon. And if I want to use my superpower for good and not evil, it's got to be clean. It's got to be clean. But I would like to ask everyone where they feel like they are in their spiritual journey at the minute. I'm at a stage where I'm fasting, because I'm independent now, and I haven't got clarity yet. Do you get what I mean? And that's what fasting provides. It provides clarity and allows you to see things from the perspective of the Lord. And I feel like in order to get my debut project and all of that, like clean cut, and my ears and everything, all my senses and everything is in tune, I need to do things with intention. Do you get what I mean?
It's
but
coming.
Where's everyone else?
I feel like a lot of things you said is super creative. The stuff you're also doing to make sure that you're happy and your work aligns with who you are is super creative. To think, because I don't know if I could do that. If I could get in the booth and be like, oh, I'm not gonna swear because I care about how my message is being put across. It's like pushing yourself to find other ways to express yourself, and I respect that a lot. I would say for me, my opinion might be quite different from all of you on this table, and maybe a little controversial. I grew up in a very Christian family. I was like born again and everything, but I don't even feel like religion or my religion standpoint combats with my persona where I'm at now, because I wouldn't say I'm actually that religious. I believe in God. I feel like I believe in the Bible. I believe in the story of Jesus, but there's a lot of things I've struggled with. Maybe it's from growing up in the church, congregation. As much as I believe like not overreacting in a bad way, there's a lot of things I don't believe in. Like I've seen bad things happen because people don't set boundaries or per se turn the other cheek. Do you get me? So I feel like there's still a certain stance and standpoint you need to have. And I also believe that we all have different relationships with God. We're like God's children. So I don't think it's right. And I'm not saying everyone is like this, but sometimes I used to find in church, in the congregation, people would like judge you and how you live your life and what you want to do because they feel like they know what's right and wrong. But God said, come as you are. Do you know what I mean? And you don't know the relationship with God. You don't know the things I pray to him about and the things that I say in our quiet time. You don't know the struggles I deal with. Do you get me? So it's mad. Like, I feel like in my adult years now, I've become way more spiritual. I still pray a lot, but I know I'm not perfect and I just don't try to be. Even though I feel like you do need a bit of ego, I feel like music has allowed my ego to die because I can get in the booth and talk my big talk and say what I want to say and get my anger out. But on a day-to-day, like, when people meet me, they'll be surprised at how kind I am because the persona, she's not fake. The Miss Banks is real, but that's a part of me and that's an expression. And I'm allowed to be whoever I want to be in that moment. That's what keeps me sane. So I don't care who's to judge, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm a spiritual person and I have a moral compass. Religion aside, I was always super conscious, and that's an element I want to bring back, I think, to align me, the real inner me, Tyra, with Miss Banks. So I think that's where I'm at in my spiritual journey for once. Like, it's like I know my moral compass, so I don't know if that gives a clear...
That's mad. That's mad what you said, because you said it was controversial, but I understood everything. Because you know what it is, for me, obviously, I said what my journey is, but I don't feel like I'm in a place that's any different to where you are. I'm not perfect. Just because I'm fasting, I'm perfect. No. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I stopped going to church when I was like, 14? Because my spirit was uneasy. And from that age, that my discernment was like, something isn't right. And if it does, just because it's in church doesn't mean it's right. So I stopped going and I was called defiant and all these different things. I still went to school, still got all my grades. I was still smart, still done everything. But it was just like, what, you don't want to come to church? So then I just turned 18 and I said, do you know what? I'm going to go church with my mum today. She's been asking me. On the way to church, obviously poetry is what I grew up doing. On the way to church, I was listening to Drake and Janae Aiko from Time, and a lyric came into my head, people switching up on me in seconds like the minute hand. And I wrote a freestyle from that middle line to the top and then down to the bottom. That's the first proper freestyle that I posted that went what was quote unquote viral at the time, like my first couple thousand views. And it went from there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I'm not perfect either. I don't think a perfect Christian doesn't exist. Do you get what I'm trying to say? A perfect believer in God doesn't exist, but as long as you know what your relationship is with God, it doesn't matter.
This is so interesting, because when you said that, I was thinking that even sounds like a God thing. Like you getting that inspiration, then writing that, right?
On the way to church.
On the way to church.
My first church visit.
But it's like, because sometimes, like, because I'm a Christian, right? To answer like the question, I think part of my calling, why I make music and what I want people to take from it is that, like, I feel like I'm a light. I feel like my function or role is to entertain people and give people a level of substance through my music. So I am intentional about that. That's my life. I think my whole life has always been the spectator, like being involved in badness from a very young age, not being involved in badness, and then being a consistent spectator of badness for a very long time whilst not getting involved, which gives me a perspective which I feel like I can, you know, give. Working in youth work, some of my young people getting involved in madnesses and life-threatening things, like peak things. So I feel like part of my thing is to guide, and I feel that's like God's call for me to guide. I'm doing it in a very vibey way, because I think sometimes it can be too on the nose and you're not just preaching to the person, but like doing it in a very vibey way. But I feel like that's my thing, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like my calling is a bit like that. Yeah, it's like an insight, but it's just turned into inspiration and help to give people a voice and belief that more closer belief that things can be done. Right now, I'm at a stage where I just want to give back to the youth and just like help the youth to steer what you steered yourself from, or just at least give them some knowledge where you can be cool, but you don't have to do that. You can still be respected. You don't have to do that to get respect, you know?
I don't think you can be in a good place in your faith, for me. I think that's why it's faith.
Exactly.
And I think with God, like, having that personal relationship and seeking him, having my secret place, it's been building from when I kind of just said, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously and then go on my journey to seek Christ. Because obviously the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added. So I wanted all these things to be added without seeking him. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, you know what, let me do it your way and let's find out if it works. And I put it to the test and it worked. And I feel like in the world of it, where egos rising and everything becomes about us at the end of the day. Do you get what I'm saying? But the truth is, it's not about us, because we're widely affecting people. Do you know what I'm saying? What about you guys?
Like, I could put out a song today and it could reach someone that doesn't have someone to talk to, but they feel like they're talking to me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So I just feel like it's just about that. It's just about being human and existing and letting your emotions come and go, putting it into art, giving it to the world so that people can just feel a little bit less alone.
Do you know what's mad deep as well? So if I just touch on that, I've had more like people message me now like, yo, bro, thank you for the music you're releasing. I was going to commit suicide. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Like,
How do you even do
a lot of it was more of like, yo, bro, like I saw your testimony. Thank you for your testimony and your journey. So I'm thinking, if it wasn't for the journey, you wouldn't have nothing to account for you to be like, he went from here to here, from depression to now he's okay. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have hope because of the journey kind of thing. So it's good to like, you can't remove, again, like, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's just part of the story kind of thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Time tells, man, time tells.
You don't have to kill the version of yourself that you used to be in order to exist as the version of yourself that you are now. Do you know what I mean?
I think like strict cultural religion is the opposite of that, because it stifles creativity. I like words, like I like all of that stuff, and I like to like just think, like, until like sometimes it hurts my head, because like, do you know what it is, yeah? Do you know what it is? It's like, sometimes I think people that are like living in like a strict religious thing that stifles creativity, I think they're not thinking. Because I look at robots, I'll get my Bible out, okay, I'll look at Psalms, I'll like Psalm 2, Psalm 3, Psalm, I'm like, okay, cool, so this was written in that year. Oh, that was written 3 years after, that was written 5 years after. Okay, we've got one psalm where David's talking about how anxious he was and how he feels like dying. End psalm. And I'm like, hang about. The psalm ended with David, who wrote it in the Bible, with him feeling like dying at the end of the psalm.
Yeah.
And if someone was writing songs today and was like, oh, I'm a Christian artist, for example, and sent that song out, they'll be like, why is there no hope in this story? It's like,
exactly.
But I was expressing my human experience. You know, I wrote a song called I Told Him about one of my students that almost died. And I was like, when I write the story, it's going to end how it ended, because that's what happened. I'm not going to listen to anyone, any faith person who's like, yo, man, you need to make it end on a good ending because there's always joy in the morning. No, when the morning comes, I'll write that song. I'm not in the morning right now.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like to stay away from that, because it's like, I can't allow the creativity that God's given me to be stifled because of your cultural opinions.
You know, when people find God and then they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to do music no more at all. That proper burns me. Or they don't want to do their job, like, they say they're an actor, they don't want to act anymore. Obviously, I get people have to do what's right for them and their mental health, yeah, but I just feel like God is the ultimate creator. And if you feel like he made us in his image, we're also our own little creators. And that's why we're here. We're here to build and create our lives. Like, he gave us free will to make our own choices. So, I don't know, it just upsets you. Like, you're so talented, bro.
I understand what you're saying, but I also feel like you got to remember that God wrote everything. So the same gift that he gave you, he knew that you was going to decide to wake up one day and not use it.
I feel like you might be talking about wasted potential, right? Like almost
and
like
just
that.
Maybe as a supporter, it's just like, oh, I wish you could still do this. Like, But also as well, like for instance, you changing and doing gospel, I respect that. I still love the fact that, and no one has to do it. There's no one way, but you're still using your voice in a way that is comfortable for you and it's authentic to you because this is where you're at in your journey.
I went through the same thing where, when I was like, you know, I'm gonna take my faith serious, I was like, I'm just gonna quit music because I couldn't see a way that music will still bang, and obviously, again, ego-wise, I didn't think people would still listen, to be fair. And then I went to church. When I'm sitting at the back here, the preacher goes, whatever you left, go back and try again with God. I said, sure. That's not even coincidence. That's written. Do you get what I mean? And I think for me, if I didn't hear that, I probably would have still quit. I even actually put it, I think I put it on Twitter at the time. I said, oh, like, I'm done with music and I had a great time, blah, 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 you know? And a lot of that is just like, when I look back and after going through therapy and counseling and stuff like that, you start realizing a lot of that stuff is to actually get attention.
Yes.
And a lot of that stuff is to actually like, make people look at you because you felt like you didn't get a look in before. It's mad. And I think that's why like Bible standalone is great, but like you can't miss the fact that it says in the multitude of counselors, a man is made established. So obviously you still need to get like therapy, counseling, because you then start understanding why I'm actually doing this. So a lot of people, even though they might have left saying, oh yeah, you know, feel like this is God and da-da-da-da-da. No offense, but to not hear God for this long and hear him so sharp here, I think like maybe you should also leave space for the fact that it might be your flesh. Leave space for the fact that there might be something going on that I don't know. Because Peter, all the disciples walking with Jesus, and yet still Jesus turned to them and said, you guys don't know what spirit you're of.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So how much more us who think that we're close to Jesus and he's not standing next to us, we don't know what spirit we're of. You know what I mean? So it's always good. You have to test yourself and check yourself, so.
What's your reason why?
Yeah.
You get me?
Your why.